So for those of you who don't know, there was a little bit of an Easter egg in the beta. I actually found it on the live stream on the weekend, thanks to you guys. I got a ton of tweets, a ton of messages, and even some of you coming to the live stream to let me know about this Easter egg. And it's actually a lot bigger than a lot of you may realize, and it has to do with campaign and spec ops. As you guys know, as of right now, we have very minimal details about the campaign and literally zero details about Spec Ops. And we have had the information, and I've made videos on it in the past, that characters are going to be returning from previous Modern Warfare games in kind of a new position. And that is what this Easter egg is all about. This Easter egg tells us that the bad guy from Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is going to be making a return in Call of Duty Modern Warfare in 2019. That is what we are going to be talking about today. So, what the hell am I talking about? Now, before we dive into this Easter egg, I just wanted to let you guys know about my second channel. So my second channel, I upload everything from Let's Plays. On top of that, I've done vlogs. There's a bunch of stuff over there, but I've also recently started uploading highlights from my Modern Warfare live streams. So if you want to check out some highlights from streams or the channel, it'll be the first link down in the description, and hopefully you guys enjoy it and check it out. So what is this Easter egg that I am talking about? So if you were looking around the maps, you may have noticed that there were a lot of crates with weapons in them, and even one of the maps was called Gunrunner. So if you went on these maps and actually had a deeper look at the crates, you may have noticed a couple of different logos on them, one of which almost looks identical to the Hydra logo from the Avengers or Iron Man, depending on what you watched. Now, it goes deeper than this, because if you have a closer look at a couple of these logos, there's actually writing on them. The writing says Zakhaev's Arms. Now, I'm guessing about 50% of you don't realize why the name Zakhaev Arms is hilarious. It really should be named Zakhaev Arm, because you may not remember this, but back in Call of Duty 4, Imran Zakhaev actually only has one arm. Now, Imran Zakhaev is actually one of the few characters that I haven't made a story video about, so I'm just gonna real quickly fill you in on his backstory, just so that you kind of can know what to expect going into the rest of this video. So as I mentioned before, Imran Zakhaev is the main antagonist in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. He's a terrorist and the leader of the ultra-nationalists in Russia, and the leader of the group called the Four Horsemen. Now, he is the one that begins the civil war in Russia in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, but the important thing to know is that years earlier, approximately 15 years earlier, Captain Price and Captain McMillan were actually sent on a mission to assassinate him. Now, this mission ends up going horribly wrong when Captain Price actually ends up missing the shot and simply shoots off his arm.
Target down. I think you blew off his arm. Shock and blood loss will take care of the rest.
But unlike Captain McMillan said, shock and blood loss were not enough. He actually ends up surviving, only losing an arm. Hence why the name Zakhaev Arms is kind of hilarious. Now, we mentioned in the past how this Modern Warfare game kind of opens an entire multiverse to the Modern Warfare story, since this game actually takes place on a completely different timeline. And I'm wondering if this name of Zakhaev Arms is actually hinting at the fact that this is a different timeline, and Zakhaev will have both of his arms because that assassination attempt in the other Call of Duty timeline never actually took place. Now, I'm not going to go in depth with the rest of Zakhaev's story from Call of Duty 4. I'm just going to give you a brief overview. Basically, the events of Call of Duty 4 happens, the war happens, and after Price interrogates Al-Assad, he ends up finding out that Zakhaev is the one behind it all.
Who was that, sir?
Zakhaev. Imran Zakhaev.
And the only way that the characters are able to actually find Imran Zakhaev is through his son, who also works for him, Viktor Zakhaev. They track him down, find him, and, well, this ends up happening.
Drop it! You've got nowhere to run! Drop it now! No!
Shit, kid's got some issues. Vice Play, this is Bravo 6. Zakhaev's son's dead. We're coming home.
Now after this, Imran Zakhaev obviously gets pretty damn pissed off, so what he does is decides to launch some nukes. And because he decides to launch some nukes, the characters in Call of Duty 4 are able to find him and stop the nukes, and this is what happens at the end of Call of Duty 4. So obviously, Imran Zakhaev is dead at the end of Call of Duty 4, so this once again reinforces that idea of the Call of Duty multiverse, with Imran Zakhaev actually being alive in this world, and on top of that, possibly having both arms, or at least an arms dealing ring. Now, I just briefly went over Imran Zakhaev's story, and as I mentioned before, I haven't done a full story of him. So if you're at all interested in that, you'd like to see me make a video of the full story of Imran Zakhaev, all you gotta do to show me is hit that like button, and then let me know that that's something you'd want to see down in the comments below, because I've covered a lot of characters, good guys, bad guys, but Zakhaev is one that I haven't done yet. And with him apparently coming to the new Modern Warfare, that's something you guys may want to know. So if you want to see that, hit that like button, let me know down in the comments. Now, back to the Easter egg, because there's a little bit more for it. Now, there is a rumor going around that Imran Zakhaev is actually once again going to be the big bad guy in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I actually don't think that that is the case. Originally, when we went to go see Modern Warfare in May, they showed us a bunch of campaign missions, and the main bad guy that they showed us was codenamed the Wolf. It didn't look like Imran Zakhaev, and on top of that, when we recently looked at the specialist stories, we found out about a new bad guy named Al-Qatala that we talked about in a previous video last week. Now, on top of all of this, the one other thing I'd like to explore is the idea of some of Imran Zakhaev's comrades returning in the game as well. Two guys in particular, the first of which is Al-Assad. He was another one of the bad guys in Call of Duty 4, and in fact, he was one of the guys we actually saw Captain Price kill in that interrogation scene that we saw before. But once again, if Zakhaev was dead and Al-Assad is dead, both of them could potentially return in this multiverse, if you will. The other option is Vladimir Makarov. As we find out in Modern Warfare 3, Vladimir Makarov is actually one of the people driving the car when Captain Price takes a shot at Imran Zakhaev. So it's also possible that Makarov will make a return as well. But there is one character, a fan favorite character, that we know is returning to the game that I haven't seen anyone talk about yet. That character is Soap McTavish. Now, how do I know this? If no one's talked about it, we've seen no images of it, none of the developers have said anything about it, the big giveaway is Wikipedia. So if you actually just Google search Soap McTavish and look off to the right hand side of the screen, it will actually show you his Wikipedia page, and it says the first Call of Duty game he appeared in was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. It says the last game that he appeared in is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, which means that somehow, I don't know how, Wikipedia knows that Soap McTavish is making a big return. Now that is, as of right now, all we know about these characters and who is returning in Modern Warfare, of course, aside from Captain Price. But this week, after the beta is over, is when we are going to find out more information on the campaign. I would assume that they're going to be bringing us a trailer and possibly even a live stream talking about the campaign. And it's kind of weird because normally campaign is the first thing they tell us about. They tell us about the characters in it, But this year, they've really held back, and I think that's because they're holding something back really big. So of course, as soon as we find that out, I will be bringing that to you guys. So if you want to stay up to date on all these things, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, make sure you have notifications on. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, and let me know what you think of all of this down in the comments below. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
Listen.